Thank you, Brother Hassan, for that wonderful recitation. Just a few announcements on some upcoming programs. Uh, Inshallah, next week we are holding the Shahadat of Imam Jawad. The week after, the Shahadat of Imam Muhammad al-Baqir. And then we get into Hajj season. We will have Dua Arafah, as well as Shahadat Imam, Shahadat Muslim bin Aqil, the cousin of Imam al-Hussein. Then we have Eid al-Adha, Eid al-Ghadir, and Mubahala, and the birth of Imam Ali al-Hadi. And that takes us to the sacred month of Muharram. Uh, Inshallah, for these programs, if you would like to make any sponsorships uh, for for generally the running of the program, for food, for any contributions, please see myself or Haj Ali Sharif, and we'll be able to help you out. As well, we are recruiting some volunteers for generally around the center and in the build up to Muharram. So if anyone is interested in becoming a volunteer, uh, for sisters, please see Haji Yasmin, Haji Sandra, Haji Sajida, any of the volunteers, and they'll be able to point you in the right direction. And for males, myself, Haj Ali, Haj Fawzi, and we can help you out. Inshallah now, if I can ask that we stand and recite 3 salawat as we invite His Eminence Sheikh Mohammed Mehdi to begin the lecture. Salawat ala Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad.
الله السميع العليم من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بفضل الله، بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، الحمد لله والحمد حقه كما يستحقه حمدا كثيرا. الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله. اللهم لعن أول ظالم ظلم حق محمد وآل محمد وآخر تابع له على ذلك. اللهم لعن العصابة التي جاهدت الحسين وشايعت وبايعت وتابعت على قتله. اللهم لعنهم جميعا، ثم الصلاة والسلام على خير خلق الله أجمعين محمد. وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين واللعنة الدائمة على أعدائهم أجمعين إلى قيام يوم الدين. Last discussion we had, we went over the parentage of the 8th Holy Imam, and who his father was and who his mother was with regard to the birth of Sayyidah Fatima al-Ma'suma, salamullahi alayha. Today, a lot of things have happened this week. Firstly, with the passing of Sheikh Ali Qur'ani al-Amali, and it was a big event. He used to have daily discussions, a real expert on Imam al-Mehdi, salamullah alayh. And then also a huge catastrophe that took place, whether it was deliberate or not, time will tell. And of the people that were killed in this accident was the president of Iran, Sayyid al-Raisi, and the foreign minister. And there was about 8 or 9 members in that helicopter that all passed into Allah's mercy. It's a pretty calamitous weekend, and a lot of the people would ask me this question. One of the questions I received, they said, why is it we lose so many big figures? In Lebanon, 2 big leaders were killed in the last 3 weeks. And before that, for many years, you see one head after the other is martyred or falls in a certain way. But you need to understand that there is one pivotal conflict, and we can explain when we get to this. And that pivotal conflict is the battle between this world and the next. And that's the underlying cause of all our action. Yani, it's a choice that is made from the beginning, whether I want the ikhri or I want the dunya. No one knows what's inside my heart. Sometimes my actions might reflect what's inside my heart. Sometimes I might be with a certain opinion or cause, and I have an ulterior motive. But if I choose a certain destination, I must undertake the path that leads to that destination. I can't choose paradise and choose a life of sin. And if I choose a path of obedience and worship, the destination will not be the fire of hell. Now, firstly, to understand what this world is, let's look at the value of this world. In a discussion between the 6th Holy Imam, Al-Imam Ja'far ibn Muhammad al-Sadiq, salawatullahi wa salamu alayh, and one of his companions, he says to him, لو عدلت الدنيا عند الله عز وجل جناح بعوضة ما سقى عدوه منها شربة ماء. So if this world, this whole world that you live in, was equal to the wing of a ba'udha could be a gnat with a silent G, or a mosquito of the type, a small insect. Allah would not let one of his enemies drink even a drop of water. So, Allah created this world, and we said, لَمْ يَنْظُرْ إِلَيْهَا مُنْذُ خَلَقَهَا. Mentioned this before. That when Allah created this world, He never looked upon it from whence He created it. So in other words, it is of no value to Allah. It's no value that He'd not even choose it as a place of reward for His believers or as a place of punishment for the non-believers. And that's why this world is full of scum. It's full of Zionists. It's full of Sodomites. It's full of rapists. It's full of murderers. It's full of people that are complicit with this, people that are indifferent. It's full of pedophiles. It's full of the journalists that you see today that are probably lower than all the aforementioned. This is the type of things that you'll see in this world. And Allah made it clear through the words of Amir al-Mu'mineen, Ali ibn Abi Talib, salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi, when he mentions the dunya, he said, ad-dunya, and it's a very good explanation in 3 words, taghur, wa tadur, wa tamur. Ad-dunya taghur. Taghur means it deceives. It looks not as advertised. People run towards it. Wa tadur. See, once I am enticed by the dunya and I run to it, it harms me. And then, wa tamur. It passes. It's as if that the dunya did not exist at the end. As if nothing had ever taken place. When Nuh, ala nabina wa alihi wa alayhi afdal as-salatu was-salam, when he was met by the angel of death, he asked the angel of death, Za'ir am qabid, are you here to visit me or are you here to take my soul? The angel of death said, qabid. Nuh said, can I move from the sun to the shade before you take my soul? Obviously, when Sulaiman asked to move, alaykum as-salam, Sulaiman's not of the station of Nuh. Nuh's far greater, is of Ulul Azm. So they have different treatment. Sulaiman wasn't even given a moment to move, alayhi salam. But Nuh was allowed to move from the sun to the shade, and he gave a sigh of relief. And he said to the angel of death, my whole life, the one that you read in the Qur'an, that said he preached to his people for 950 years. And if you read the narrations, he lived for even longer. He said, my whole life, from the beginning to now, was like moving from the sun to the shade. That's how fast it passed by. In another narration, Amir al-Mu'mineen mentions, he says, عَجِبْتُ لِمَنْ رَأَى الدُّنْيَا وَتَقَلُّبُهَا بِأَهْلِهَا. That I'm amazed at the one that sees this dunya. And then he says, وَتَقَلُّبُهَا. What does تَقَلُّبُهَا? Means how, if you notice when you're watching the dunya, I'll give you an example of things I saw in my life that will blow your mind. I used to remember, for example, let's look at Egypt, for example. Anwar Sadat was the first one to give allegiance to the Zionist entity. And then he got a bullet and he was sent to hell. And then after him came Hosni Mubarak. And he ruled for how long? Ruled for a good 34 years. And then the same people that he had done sujood to for 34 years in Bay'ah, they sold him out. And then after him came Muhammad Morsi, thinking, yes, I'm the king, long live the king. How long did he last? Moments, back in jail. And then came the Sisi right now. So the way that the world works and the way it deals, and he's going to get his just desserts very soon. The way that the world works and the way it functions, that you see people have moments of happiness, that they fight for it. Like the first person to usurp the caliphate of Imam Ali. He did all this just to rule for 2 years. All this and he only ruled for 2 years. So if you look at this and all that and the way the world works with people, he says, كيف يركن or كيف يركن إليها. If you see the way the dunya is, كيف يركن? What does يركن mean? يركن, how do you put trust in it? How do you use it as something that you can rely upon? If you see someone who has 20 faces. He sells people out all the time, betrays people all the time. How can you take him as a friend? That's what the Imam says. How do people put their trust in the dunya when they see how many people have put their trust in the dunya and have fallen apart? Now, the question that people ask is, what's that? Warmer. I don't know, they might both be warm. Try it. That's one. Thank you. Sallallahu ala Muhammad wa ala. So the question is what? When you look at it, you go, look, we're getting smashed. That's the way you see the world. We get killed. But I'm going to tell you right now, we got more, firstly, than we're entitled to. Because you read in Surah Al-Zukhruf, and I've mentioned this, Allah says, وَلَوْلَا أَنْ يَكُونَ النَّاسُ أُمَّةً وَاحِدًا. If it were not for the danger, basically, Allah is saying, that the human beings would be one community of disbelief. Yani in parentheses, أُمَّةٌ وَاحِدًا عَلَى كُفْرٍ. If it wasn't for the danger of everyone becoming a kafir, he says, لَجَعَلْنَا لِمَنْ يَكْفُرْ بِالرَّحْمَنِ لِبُيُوتِهِمْ سُقُفًا من فضة ومعارج عليها يظهرون ولبيوتهم أبوابا وسررا عليها يتكئون وزخرفا. So he mentions here, Allah says, if it weren't for everyone disbelieving, we would have given the disbelievers houses with roof linings of silver, with staircases that ascend up high of silver, and doors of silver, and furniture and beds of silver with gold ornaments on it. In other words, they would be blinged up. They would be living large. He said, but had we done this, then everyone would become a kafir. They said, listen, you stop believing in God, you get sorted. So why would I stay believing in God? So that's the deal you're supposed to. You think about it, if you lived at the time of the Imam alayhum salam, one Imam is as if it's as if everything worked out. For who? The enemies of Ahlul Bayt. Amir al-Mu'mineen said that the people, he said, Hatta yadunna dhan. So the one that has done, the one that is, when we say someone that has an opinion or a surety in something, an opinion in something other than what is real. He's meaning here. And if people become dubious about this matter, it becomes a contentious matter to them. He says, حتى يظن الظان أن الدنيا معقولة على بني أمية. You think about this. Everything used to work out for Muawiyah. Banu Umayyah, everything they did, it would work out. Amir al-Mu'mineen would say, the people would look, and they would say, what? This dunya ma'qula. You know what ma'qula means? You know when you aql something. When you put like a tie, put a rope or a leash on a horse or a camel, reins, you tie the reins and you lead them by them. Okay? He says, as if the dunya musakhar ala bani Umayyah. It's subservient. Everything works out for them. Every plot they do works. How many assassins? Do you know at the time of Amir al-Mu'mineen, how many good people were assassinated? Malik ibn Nuwayra was assassinated in the most horrific way. Malik al-Ashtar was poisoned. Muhammad ibn Abi Bakr was not only killed, they put him into the body of a dead donkey and they burnt him. And Muhammad ibn Abi Bakr is one of the Hawariyeen of Amir al-Mu'mineen. You know the 4 disciples of Amir al-Mu'mineen? 1 or 5 disciples, sorry. One of them was Muhammad ibn Abi Bakr. Imagine you heard of someone get put in the body of a dead donkey and burnt. Malik ibn Nuwayra's head was used as a furnace. They put the fire in his skull to cook with. Could you believe this? You're sitting there watching, Allahu Akbar. as if this dunya is for them. That's what people start to believe. Now, the thing is, when it comes to the believer and the way that the believer is, Allah Azza wa Jal wants the believer to keep his eye on the prize. Because our reward isn't here. We see glimpses of victory. But our ultimate victory is what? It's there. When I say it's there, I need you to understand that everyone, when they move along this path, they're headed in one direction. And that's why every time a martyr fell in Karbala, ازداد وجه الحسين تلألؤا, that his full face became more brilliant and more luminant. Why? Because his martyrdom was coming closer. His martyrdom was nearing. So the believer's focus ultimately is what? Their duty with God. Because we, when they said to Amir al-Mu'mineen, they said to him, Muawiyah adha mink. The Muawiyah is more, when we say adha, he's clever. He's very, sometimes in Lebanon, they'll mix, when I was in Lebanon, they'll mix the meaning of ghash with shatara. Okay? Where they'll rip someone, they'll rot someone, and they'll say as if this is cleverness. The merchants. This isn't cleverness. This isn't good trade. This is deceit. At-tijara is different. Trade is different. And we don't do what our enemy does. For example, our martyrs, what do we do with them? Do we just say, oh, no one died? Don't know what you're talking about. No. We parade them. We are upset that they've died, but we are honored by their deaths. We don't just say, hold on, I don't know what you're talking about. That bomb didn't hit anything like the enemy does. The enemy conceals all this. The enemy doesn't want you to know what's happening there. The enemy has no respect for the rights of their dead. Why? Because they care about public image. Whereas we care about what? One thing. And this is what the Imam says. He says, إِنَّهُ مَنْ كَانَ هَمُّهُ هَمًّا وَاحِدًا وَهَمًّا وَاحِدًا. Whoever has only one ham, one thing that concerns them. What is that thing? Allah. He says, كَفَاهُ اللَّهُ هَمَّهُ. That Allah Azza wa Jal will suffice him in all his affairs, all the things he has. وَكَفَى اللَّهُ وَكَفَى بِاللَّهِ حَسِيبًا وَكَفَى بِاللَّهِ وَكِيلًا. That Allah is sufficient as a protector. Allah is sufficient when it comes to your affairs. I don't need every Tom, Dick and Harry to help me. I need only Allah. I only need Allah on my side. He says, وَمَنْ كَانَ هَمُّهُ فِي كُلِّ وَادٍ لَمْ يُبَالِ اللَّهِ بِأَيِّ وَادٍ هَلَاكٍ. So if my only concern is this prayer time, the people, I'll give you an idea. Someone, you tell him, do you pray at work? He says, no. Say, why not? I don't have time. MashaAllah. What kind of a job do you do if you don't have time to pray? Go change your job. Go do a job where you can pray. Or your prayer is more important than anything. So if my preoccupation is God, this is haram, I will not do it. One of the brothers called me from another state. He told me, my parents have introduced me to a girl to get married, but they are adamant that they want music at the wedding. And the parents have said, if I don't accept, they will not let me marry that girl. So I was very polite. I didn't say but Jahannam, but I said pretty close to that. I said, you know, Allah la yaruddun. If they don't want to give you their daughter, plenty of fish in the sea. What do you mean? If I have to choose between God and 1 million women, who are you going to choose? There's only one choice. If I have to choose between God and anything, Allah Azza wa Jalla is always going to be your choice. If my choice alternates, this is what the Imam means. وَمَنْ كَانَ هَمُّهُ فِي كُلِّ وَادٍ. And if you kulli wad, when I ask someone, why did you migrate? Now, everyone migrates for a different reason. Why do people migrate? What's my purpose? Why do people go somewhere? What is the ultimate goal of them undertaking any activity? If I expend my energy in anything, you know, like the fallacy says, I don't know where they got this from. 1 hour for you, 1 hour for your Lord. This is kufr. Every hour is for your Lord. Every hour is for your Lord. Can I do something enjoyable? Of course, but it must be halal. Even when you eat, you're getting rewarded. How do you get rewarded when you eat? That you've chosen to eat halal. Instead of eating haram, you're being rewarded because you're eating halal. You had the choice to go eat haram. It's much easier for this generation compared to ours. Our generation, forget it. Firstly, there was no place to find food. Secondly, try and find something halal. It was impossible. And even when I went to the UK, they're like 10 steps ahead. I was in Blackburn, and my mate said, let's go to a Subway. And I said, Subway, they take the franchise, and they make sure that there's nothing haram in there at all. There's no cross-contamination, nothing. We still haven't got there. We're still trying to do these halal pubs. You know, they try to do a halal club or pub. I don't know where they came up with that. That makes no sense, you know, halal club. It has absolutely no sense whatsoever. So if I want to, you know, go to the Hajj, then go to Ibiza, go to Ziyarah, okay, and then go a party at some island or something. If I want to go to pray Salat al-Jum'ah and then go clubbing in the same night, Allah doesn't care where you die. Because you've expended your energy anyway. The mu'min expends all their energy. Their ham is solely for Allah Azza wa Jal. They want to have a good time at night. Yes, they have a good time in what is permissible and not what is forbidden. Imam Ali ibn Musa al-Redha alayhi salam was put in a situation by Ma'mun where Ma'mun would entertain in his court all different religions to get the scholars of each religion in order to debate with the Imam. Why? To make the Imam, to overcome the Imam. Because these people, they didn't believe in the Imam's ability. Even today, you have people that don't. They deny. When I tell you someone is Allah's hujjah ala al-khalq, the word hujjah means argument or proof. So, do I see Allah? No. How do I know Allah's existence? From these people. They are God's sign to us. The existence of God is from them when I see what they do. So Ma'mun put him in a court and he invited all these scholars in order to show that the Imam would be defeated by all these other scholars. And this is where you see where Allah prevails. And we're going to get to the irtibat so you can understand. The result doesn't come the way you see it. See, we're used to watching, listen, We're used to watching a TV show or a movie or reading a book where the hero wins in the end by killing off the bad guys. Isn't that what we watch? The hero always finishes off. That final ending is coming, but that's what the Imam Sahib al-Amr. But we get little victories on the way, and these are the victories here. The Ma'mun brought the Imam to humiliate him. Imam Al-Redha alayhi salam, he said, do you know when Ma'mun will regret inviting me or arranging this gathering? He says, when I defeat the Christian with his Bible, and I defeat the Jew with his Torah, and I defeat the mutakallimin, the philosophers, with their rhetoric. And he names one after, and the Romans with their Roman. Yani every language and every argument and every philosophy that they will present, I will defeat them using their jargon, their rhetoric. Not in my own. Using theirs, I will subdue them. Allah, did the Imam in the end defeat Ma'mun and take over? No. This is the moral victory we're talking about. These are the victories that come out. The thing is, you might think, all right, all this good we've been doing has exposed everyone else. You look at the support for the oppressed, the support for the oppressed in Gaza. You think, all right, everyone would have fallen in line. But you see, look, Rasulullah said, Ya Ali, la yuhabbuka illa mu'min. Only a believer will love Ali ibn Abi Talib. And only a hypocrite will hate Ali ibn Abi Talib. And you are the followers of Ali ibn Abi Talib. So everything you do, these people that love Ali will love you, and the people that hate Ali will hate you. If you look at all these events that have taken place, all these silent enemies of God, notice they were giving out sweets in Syria. These Daesh, or whatever they are, for the helicopter crash and the deaths of all these leaders. Why? Because Shia died. It was a meaning of celebration for them. Or another one, all these leaders that get up speak. One of the people I really detest, and I'm going to name him, is Mufti Menk. I really despise this person. He was someone that spoke so strongly in support of these Syrian events. He hasn't even uttered a word about what's happening in Gaza. And he also had iftar, remember 2 years ago, with what? With a Zionist rabbi. You know, I was seeing on one of the Lebanese television stations that singer-actor, Muhammad Ramadan from Egypt. He's going to go do a rock concert, you know where? This summer in Lebanon. The shame of these people. This person hangs out with Zionist actors. And they invite him for a concert. They have no shame. They have no honor. They have no dignity. But let's look at the victories that we have achieved in this time. And these things are all unprecedented. Okay. I'm giving you of what I've seen in my life. You might look at the International Court of Justice of Criminal Courts or International Criminal Court as nothing. But this is the first time, it's unprecedented, in history where the Israeli government has lost the case. And the judges voted for the motion of a genocide, and there's an arrest. Honestly, if you told me this 1 year ago, I would laugh at you. That there is an arrest warrant for the Israeli Prime Minister. You might say, hold on, but he can go to the United States. Yeah, but there's 124 nations where he can be arrested. This is unprecedented. This is a victory in its own right. Trust me when I tell you this. Secondly, the recognition of a Palestinian state by Norway, Ireland, and Spain. And these are three countries that what? Are allies and that trade with the United States. They've gone completely against them. And recently the Spanish vice president, she actually made this statement, from the river to the sea. And it's gone to that point. This is unprecedented. I've never seen this in my life happen before. The other thing is, Channel 4 of the UK and CNN, the first time in my life, have challenged the Israeli narrative. This has never happened before. This legacy media never challenges anything not to do with Israel. I remember the war in Lebanon and in July, when the Lebanese the buildings in the Dahiya were falling, they were actually mocking the construction of these buildings. Now look how much everything's changed. These same channels are questioning the Israeli narrative. They actually, you've seen when they have an Israeli spokesman, they're cooking them. They never used to do this before. This is unprecedented. The other thing, we have never seen worldwide protests in condemnation of Israel. Never. In this manner, you'll never see it. You've had people protest the United States in Vietnam, the American people, the protests against the war in Iraq, but in this manner, where people are fully stood against Israel. Students and teachers. This is a victory in its own right. The world has shifted. It's gone in a different direction. One article I read by, I think her name was Heidi Klein. Heidi Klein, that's it. In the Guardian, and she, if you read her previous articles, pro-Israeli. This article she wrote in February, March, I think, or April, blew my mind. She wrote an article where she was differentiating between Judaism and Zionism. They never do that. They always say this is, if you criticize every Yom Qudus, this is something I always bring up. There's a difference between Judaism and Zionism. Zionism is Western colonization, and Judaism is a religion. Big difference between the two. Now, Heidi Klein, for the first time, has differentiated between the two. This is unprecedented. You will never see this before. Now, also, have you noticed they're trying to ban, and they're banning of TikTok? Why? Because of the actions of the action of the government to govern all the social media platforms, because these are the reason why people have changed their opinions. You know, a lot of times people say, "Oh, bikharbu biyut." Everyone used to look at social media; it's destroying. Subhanallah. Okay. وَمَكَرُوا وَمَكَرَ اللَّهُ. They made these platforms in order for people to voluntarily give them information. But these platforms that they made were what undid them and what destroyed them. They used them for spying. It also forgot that it was spying on them. And this is also something that has not been done before. The other thing, this is the Israeli apocalypse. And an apocalypse in Greek literally means what? In Greek, it literally means revelation. So what's happened? The mask has fallen off the Israelis. See, before, Israel used to spend so much money in PR. Their public image has always been pristine. They've always come on, they're well-spoken, you know. They point everyone out as if these people are terrorists. And now the mask has come off. You know, all these videos of their soldiers riding, you see that soldier riding, playing on the toys of the Palestinian dead children. All the, like, there's footage I used to see before. No one's seen unless you are into the media. There was he passed away last year, John Pilger, an amazing journalist, Australian South. He did a documentary once, I Seen Things, that a lot of people have never heard of. When the Israelis used to enter the villages, when they entered Nablus and Jenin, this is like 18 years ago, they entered the kindergartens there, you know, the childcare centers. They defecated inside the pots that they used to cook food in. And to give you an idea of what they were doing, and John Pilger wrote it, so no one really cared. But now, all of this has come out everywhere. Everyone can see the monster. And people are now what? you see these right-wing extremist movements, fascism has come back to life. All people have turned against everything that before they had remained silent and not taken a position. See, the thing is, my role remains the same, and it has always been the same role. What's my role? Is to seek what God wants, is to seek the hereafter. Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib, when he describes the righteous, he says, أرادتهم الدنيا فلم يريدوها. So the dunya sought them, okay? Or أرادتهم, aimed at them, it directed itself at them, the dunya. It says, وَلَمْ يُرِيدُوهَا, but they did not aim, like their objective wasn't dunya. Basically, you know, when someone loves someone, a stalker, when the other person doesn't want them, the dunya is a stalker to the believer. The believer doesn't even, doesn't care about the dunya. And then it says, وَأَصَرَتْهُمْ فَفَدَوْا أَنفُسَهُمْ مِنْهَا. So what it did, the dunya captured them. How? With all its problems. So how did they get out? They sacrificed themselves. They sacrificed everything they had as a ransom to get away from it. Means they lost a lot. You know these people that took stands for haqq, what did they end up with in the dunya? They lost a lot. How many people open their mouths? Next day you see them resigning. You seen that? They do this once in their life. A mu'min does this all the time. How many opportunities do we forego because of our religion? How many positions can't we be in because of our religion? Many a time you see Sayyid Hassan in his speeches where he says, I have had a lot of offers. It's true. They put a lot of offers for them. Just accept, just recognize. You just recognize and everything will be fixed up. And people still think, all right, yeah, but he's got recognition. What recognition? He's living in protection. Do you know how terrible his life is? You would die if he lived his life. He can't associate with anyone. Anyone. How? This is the price you pay. Because not only the dunya chases the believer, the devil, فَبِعَزَّتِكَ لَأَغْوِيَنَّهُمْ أَجْمَعِينَ. The devil swears to God, لَأَغْوِيَنَّهُم, that most certainly I will deceive them, all of them. And your nafs, your lowly self, إِنَّ النَّفْسَ لَأَمَّارَةٌ بِالسُّوءِ. The nafs is also trying to drive you into doing what's wrong. And the believer fights this because it's constant, it's perpetual, it's never ending. And once they do this, they are able to escape everything. Once they hold on to the akhirah, the dunya becomes valueless. What they miss out on here, they don't care about. They don't want anything in this world because their eye is on the ultimate prize. However, Allah Azza wa Jal still gives us these small victories here and there. And every time we watch a video of those inverted red triangles, we get happy. You know, we still get these little victories here and there that we enjoy. They're small, but they're there. And the thing is, they're persistent. And Allah Azza wa Jal, in the end, will make the believer prevail. In the dunya, before the akhirah. We ask Allah Azza wa Jal to have mercy on all the shuhada and all the deceased. And we ask Allah to accept their actions and accept our actions. We ask Allah Azza wa Jal to hasten the reappearance of our master Al-Hujjat ibn al-Hasan al-Mahdi, arwahuna fidah. We ask Allah not to take us from this world until He is pleased with us. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. اللهم كن لوليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعوا فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. وإلى أرواح المؤمنين والمؤمنات وإلى أرواح موتانا جميعا ولقضاء الحوائج وقبول الأعمال وشفاء المرضى وغفران الذنوب وتعجيل الفرج وحسن العاقبة. رحم الله من قرأ سورة المباركة الفاتحة مع الصلوات. Just dear brothers and sisters, before I leave, I would like you all to read 5 times the verse Amma Yujib for our marda, especially Hajj Farizan. Should be remembering her all the time because she's left a big space in the center, a big void without her presence. We ask Allah Azza wa Jal to cure of her ailments 5 times. Shafa al-Marda, especially for Hajj Farizan. We'll read Amma Yujib. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه أما مضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء أما يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء أما يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء أما يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء. يا الله 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 يا الله. اللهم اشفي كل مريض. اللهم اكشف عنا السوء والبلوى بظهور الحجة. رحم الله من قرأ لشفاء المرضى وغفران الذنوب ولأمواتنا جميعا. رحم الله من قرأ سورة المباركة الفاتحة مع الصلوات.